BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
And coming up on this episode of Perspectives, we continue to celebrate Black History Month, and our guest will share a little bit on his perspectives on how you can get out of whatever is keeping you enslaved in your life. That is coming up next on this episode of Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime.
Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective, which shines a light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life. What's your perspective?
And thank you for joining us on Perspectives. Remember, you can connect with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/BronxNet Perspectives. And there you can leave your comments or ask us a question about any of the topics you hear on our show. Now, you can also see all of our past shows online by visiting www.bronxnet.org. Perspectives. In celebration of Black History Month, you'll be able to see some facts as well. And in celebration of Black History Month, we want to tell you we've got a couple of history facts. Number one, in 1820, the first organized immigration of blacks from the U.S. back to Africa occurs. 86 free blacks leave New York Harbor on a ship named the Mayflower of Liberia. The group lands on the West African coast and on March the 9th joins with ex-slaves freed by Britain to help form what would eventually be called the West African nation of Sierra Leone. Fact number two, in 1925, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the Black Moses, enters federal prison in Atlanta, Georgia. Garvey, built the largest black mass movement in African-American history by emphasizing racial pride, economic empowerment, and the building of a black empire in Africa. Born in Jamaica and having traveled throughout South America, Garvey organized Universal Negro Improvement Association, and also in 1914, he brought the UNIA to America in 1915. Its growth then exploded. At its height, the UNIA had several 100,000 members and owned businesses ranging from bakeries to shipping lines. He died in London in 1940, but his legacy lives on even today. And those are our Black History facts for Black History Month. And when we come back, our guest, Michael McCain, will join us to share his story and tell us how it just might change your life. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.
Watching the Lifeline TV. I'm Deshaun Daniel, and today we're going to take some time to review a book that was written by a brother by the name of Michael McCain. And this book was submitted to us a few weeks ago, and the title of it is Life Editing. And I believe it's a message I believe a lot of us can relate to. When you're trying to get rid of some hindrances and roadblocks, some toxic relationships, different things of that nature that all seem to boggle us down, and you have to take some time to go in your life. And sometimes I say, you have to L7, you got to delete some stuff, you got to get rid of some things. And so this book is definitely something I believe you can benefit from. So I'm going to be joined later by author Martina Young, who's going to be sharing her thoughts this week.
I wanted to share with you a few things that I received from the book Life Editing. First of all, one of the things that grabbed me immediately was the subtitle, Taking Out the Trash. And that is what this book is about, examining our lives, editing out what does not need to be there, putting out the trash. Because far too often there are things that we're carrying in our lives, things that we're packing that are of no use anymore in our life. And so this book takes us on a journey to examine ourselves, examine our emotions, examine our relationships and different things in our lives that we may still be holding on to that need to be edited out of our lives. And so I would encourage you to take the book and walk along the path that Michael McCain is trying to lead us on through this book. Many of us sometimes are hindered by relationships, by careers, by different things in our lives that we continue to hold on, and God is asking us to release. So Life Editing is a book that will change the direction of your life if you would take the time to allow God to minister to you through the words found in the book. The chapter entitled Self-Sabotage, it opens with this question, and it says, who needs enemies when you have yourself? And sometimes we do not stop to realize that often we are our biggest hindrances. And in that chapter, he talked about how often we are our own greatest stumbling block, and that we need to stop and examine what's going on in our own minds and our own lives to stop our progress. Stop blaming everybody else and stop and look at yourself to see, is there something within me that I need to change? For example, he talked about how our thinking can be a hindrance to us going forward. And instead of going around thinking lowly of ourselves or thinking that we can't accomplish this and the other, if greatness is what we desire, then greatness is what we should set our minds on. So it's time to cut out the self-sabotage, get on the road of life editing, put the trash out, and move on, because God has great things in store for each and every one of us.
Back here on Open, Daren Jaime here with you. We are with a person who is best known as a motivational speaker. Our next guest is also a life coach and an author, and among other many titles. Well, I should say he's here to talk about his most recent book, Life Editing, Volume 1, Taking Out the Trash. And we welcome Michael McCain to our show. And if you're looking at the book, this is exactly what it looks like. Michael McCain here. And welcome, and thank you for being here with us here on Open.
Thank you for having me.
Good. So when you talk about taking out the trash, every American pretty much does that, but we don't do it, I guess, in many ways. Tell us about this here.
Life editing is about getting your life on track, taking out some issues, some hindrances, some roadblocks. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's relationship baggage, sometimes it's people we associate ourselves with, and it's ridding yourself of anything that might be a hindrance to your progression in life.
So sometimes when we look at life, a lot of people will hold on to stuff, and we have a tendency to be what I call internal hoarders, if you will. We hoard,
right.
We hoard a lot of things. What are some of the keys in terms of really getting that stuff out? Because for many people, this is deep-seated, and it's been around and affected their life in many ways.
The number one thing that I would say to helping a person getting on track is understanding their purpose. Because when you know what your value is and where you're headed in life, it will help put you on a sure road as to what you value and what you do, who you associate yourself with, and what is meaningful to you. And when you understand those things, as things progress in your life and you come into connection with people and you experience different things, you learn what is valuable to hold on to and what to discard.
Talk to me about what really got you to writing this book.
It was a culmination of both my own experiences and editing my own life, as well as mentoring and counseling other people who I kept hearing common threads of the same issues and problems that were surfacing in their life.
Talk to us about this here, because as I look through the book, I see there's several chapters that you have, and you talk about detoxing people and relationships. And we all suffer from relationship drama in one way, shape, or form. The importance of detoxing.
The importance of detoxing is ridding yourself, as we spoke earlier, not holding on to negative things. Sometimes we can go through experiences where people can be very negative, either by what they've experienced in their own lives, things that have unfolded for them, or they just have a negative mindset about how they approach certain things in life, and they portray that in the lives of other people. So it's really about centering yourself so that you don't become dictated by other people's actions and how they rule their lives.
I've talked with many people before about being delivered from things in life. And I said the one thing that people sometimes have to be delivered from is people. Because if you're going to be able to succeed, you're going to have to not allow people to really play such an important part in how you live and govern your life. Because if not, you'll become a puppet to people.
Right.
Do you find that many people are just trying to live up to somebody else's expectations in life and never really live up to expectations for themselves?
Right. Many people that I run into have what I call approval addictions. They are addicted to what other people's perception is of them, how they think of them, what their feelings are towards them, and it becomes a real hindrance to the progress, to the goals that they set with their own lives, because everything that they do, they govern it by the opinion of someone else. And sometimes that could be good, sometimes it can be extremely negative. When you're not able to make decisions for yourself because you're looking to the opinion of someone else, be it a spouse, be it a family member, a relative, a close friend. And sometimes we need to rid ourselves of those opinions and understand what our true purpose is.
In your book, you also talk about goal setting and the importance of goal setting. What do you find is the impetus for a person really setting those goals? Why should people be setting up these goals?
Setting up goals is like the blueprint for the direction your life is going. And if you're not really sure where you're going, then nobody can take you there. What will often happen is that if you don't have goals, someone else will create them for you. If you don't set where you want to go with your life, someone will come along and start telling you where they see you in life. So for a person that sets goals, it helps put them on a road to understanding first themselves and understanding where they want to be in life and putting themselves there.
So as you look through your book, what do you, out of all the chapters that you have, what do you feel is like, you know, the most important chapter out of all of them?
I would say it's self-sabotage. Because after you are a person that learns different steps of how to put your life in perspective, the number one thing that a successful person will often do is attack themselves. They are very creative at building up ideas, and I'm speaking from that place because I do it to myself, where you can build up great ideas, and after a while you'll start to tear them down. You'll start to look at them like, okay, I can't do this, or it's too much, or I don't have the right resources, or I don't have the right help. So it's basically ridding yourself of some of the excuses, ridding yourself from the approval addictions of other people, and putting yourself in a place where you know what your purpose is.
And when you talk about that, you talk about it from a personal perspective. How do you feel like you've done that in your life?
I was able to achieve that by pressing. It was a constant press, because I was one that would get things into play and then just drop it when it became too much for me. So one of the things I had to learn was discipline, self-discipline. And when I start a thing, finish a thing, and not become overwhelmed. You know, everything is not always going to work out the way you think it may work out or the way you perceive it to work out. So it was just the art of discipline, and understanding that I needed to complete whatever it was that I started.
And many people don't.
Right.
And and you find it to be mostly because of self, or is it mostly because of someone else? Because a lot of times you hear people say, it's because of somebody else. Somebody else is keeping me down, and somebody else is preventing me from doing this. But many times the reality is not that somebody else.
It's yourself. You're just holding on to the excuse. You may be holding on to an occurrence. You may be holding on to a situation that has happened in your life, but that situation has long passed you. And so now it's not a situation anymore. It's just the excuse that's left that you're holding on to as a license for why you haven't done what you desire to do.
Dr. Michael McCain is our guest in studio. He's talking about his book. It's called Life Editing Volume 1, Taking Out the Trash. When we continue, we're going to give you some more keys on how to take out the trash in your own life, how to make your life a little bit better, and really how to address the needs that you're having personally and not putting the blame on somebody else. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.